One station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, Jake Hartford.
89 WS.
P-A-Town, Rich here in WS.
Hey.
Hey, Rich.
And Jake, how you doing?
Hey, things are wonderful.
Let me premise my statement with things couldn't be better. I'm sitting here with the volume turned down on a TV watching naked women on Cinemax, eating egg roll snacks, drinking vodka, and listening to Jake Hartford. I mean, how can it get any better, you know?
Good morning, everybody. Saturday morning, the last Saturday in 2012. Today would be 29th, December 29th. 6:09 in the morning, 9 past 6, 51 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock. This edition of Awake with Jake is now officially up and running. It's going to be kind of an interesting next 2 hours. Les Gold, Hardcore Pawn, will be with us in the second hour of the show. And there's some other things we're going to get into. I know, Fiscal Cliff, everybody, Fiscal Cliff, the homeless guy this morning down on Lake Street, feeding the pigeons. Fiscal Cliff. If that's what you want to talk about, I'm here for you. If that's what you really want. There is... a lot of interesting things, though, going on. When I was sick last week, I left the show and I got sick Saturday night and all the way through on Tuesday, Christmas afternoon. I was in and out of consciousness, and sometimes the TV was on in the background, and I was hearing different things. And you know, sometimes you're not sure whether you're dreaming something or you heard something is true. There was a thing about the Mount Rushmore. There were three things that I thought were fascinating. One had to do with Mount Rushmore. Apparently, when they originally built the thing, they put Jefferson on the wrong side. After they did it, they didn't want Jefferson where Jefferson is now, so they blew Jefferson off and started over with Jefferson. That's not the important part. But the important part is it cost $14 million. I'm sorry, it took 14 years and cost $1 million. And if they did it today with all the regulations and costs and all that stuff, the permits and all that goes into doing things, it would cost $100 million. I mean, think about that. $1 million back then and $100 million now. So that was like one of the things that kind of stood out in my mind when I got out of my daze. The other one I heard was Marie Osmond said she once got pinched in the rear end by Groucho Marx. I have no further details on that, but that stuck out. And then the third one, I can't remember, but it was important. 591-8900 is the phone number. Good morning. Who is this?
This is Paul in Arlington Heights, Jake.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Doing fine, sir. I hope you're doing better. Morgan says here that your voice sounds a little raspy this morning.
It could.
Yeah.
Or it just could be the bad technical equipment. I don't know.
Well, Jake, you mentioned things like physical cliff or whatever that is.
Fiscal cliff. We're going over the fiscal cliff.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. What I'd like to talk about this morning is that you brought so many nice memories on Thursday morning at the end of your show when you're talking about the penny candy.
Oh.
I have such fond memories of penny candy. When I was a kid, I would like to say the 900 block of West Diversey, we used to have a little store that was a combination of candy store, penny candy store, and school supplies, because you had Agsie School just a little bit to the north of there. And I remember as a kid going down the stairs into the Spaceman store and getting my Jawbreakers, my Sen-Sens. The lady talked about on Thursday about the saucers. I remember those. The thing that looked like a record. It was licorice with a little red dot in the middle. And, of course, your candy cigarettes. I remember sucking on those candy cigarettes. And you always would put that pink tip at the end and put the white part in your mouth, and you'd suck on it until it was almost gone. Then when you reached in, you'd just go and crunch on it.
Wasn't it like a peppermint?
Yes, it was. It was a peppermint flavor, exactly. Yeah. Such fond memories, Jake.
And they still make that candy. That's what kind of semi-surprised me the other day when I read that story about, that they've banned this stuff in a lot of places, and you can go online and they sell the candy cigarettes in the packages like they did years ago, and they sell all that other candy.
Yeah.
So people are still buying it somewhere.
Well, sure. Yeah, but if you try to sell it at a retail store, now they want to fine you. Well, come on. Well, doesn't have the government have something better to do than that? And besides penalize people like that and then tax us up the wing? And I got to give you credit, Jake. I know you've mentioned more than once that you have never had a cigarette in your life.
Never. You never even took a puff.
Kudos to you. I mean, who's kidding who? I'm sure when you're 9, 10 years old, I am sure you were under peer pressure. Come on, Jake, have a cigarette. Come on, be like the big boys here. And you did not succumb to that pressure. Kudos to you, Jake.
You know what?
I could say the same.
Yeah, but in grade school, I don't remember kids with cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason, yeah.
I think I
remember a nun with a ruler. That I remember a lot of that.
Don't we all? Yeah. And on a sadder note, it's a shame that tonight on Monday night when I watch the ball up on the TV, we won't see in person live Dick Clark. First time in how long? Jake?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There's a whole list of people who have, famous people who have died this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we, the last couple this week, Norman. General Norman Schwarzkopf, easy for me to say. You had Jack Klugman, Charles Durning, great character actor.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
And there's a lot more if you go back early in the year that just kind of get lost as the year goes through.
Yeah.
And there's a whole list. And Rob Feeder in his Time Out column yesterday did a whole list of those with Chicago connections who died.
Well, I put a comment on his column there, or on his blog, that thank God I didn't see my name on that list.
Hey, you want to feel old?
Give it to me.
I'm looking at a list of things that will make you feel old, and one of them is the CD is 35 years old.
A CD?
A CD, the CD.
Wow.
That thing was invented 35 years ago.
Well, I remember the old 8-track in my 69 Oldsmobile. Oh, boy. Well, one final thing, Jake. I couldn't help but notice on one of the social media pages that it lists there that your birthday is this coming Tuesday also, and you're going to be 94 years old.
Yes.
So if it's on the social media pages, it's correct.
That would make me the oldest talk show host between 9 and 11 on this station.
There you go. Jake, we love you, guy.
Have a happy New Year, Paul.
You too, Jake.
Thanks for everything. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. CD, 35 years. I remember that right? What was 35 years ago? 23, 77? Is that when the CD was popular? Because I remember Bob Surratt coming in to the CBS newsroom back in the 80s. I know, kids, there were the 80s. Him coming in with this thing, and he said, look, it plays music. And everybody said, what is that? And he said, it's a CD player. And we said, what's a CD player? And he took out this disc. He says, there's music on here. And it has, I think it's like, what was it he told me? He said the maximum amount of time that you can play in a CD is like 73 minutes, something like that. And what was interesting about that was the guy from Sony, who ran Sony at the time, whatever his favorite music was, he wanted that on the new CD. And what it ran, that whatever the composition was, it ran 73 minutes. That's why they made it for 73 minutes. Because he wanted to hear his music. That's what he needed. So that's how they could have gone 80, but now they went 73. But that was back in the 80s. So what were they, if the CD is 35, I don't know, you do the math. I can't do the math. It's too early in the morning. Anyway, 591-8900 is the phone number. It's a Saturday morning. What's on your mind? I'm here for you, because that's what we do here on the Awake with Jake show on Saturday morning. 6:18, back after this. 89 WA.